after the governor's office called them in February of this year, is the president at the time, Ed Gray, came out publicly and said, well, we've been told we should probably open our meetings up. And we recognize, he put this in writing too, we recognize that we get public dollars. And so that's why, specifically putting it on the fact that they get public dollars rather than on the fact that they step in the shoes of government and perform a public function. They did not want to, in my opinion, legally go on the record and say, we believe we perform a public function. And what we've got, you know, and I know you're not as thrilled with it, but what we have with this state attorney opinion is we have the state attorney definitively stating on paper in black and white, Team Santa Rosa, and I'll read it out. Santa Rosa County has delegated the performance of its public purpose to a private entity.
Right.
And that's what they've been avoiding having stated in black and white for so long. It's now here on paper.
Right, and that's the definitive thing. And look, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of wins in this. When I started this, the whole purpose of this journey was that this organization followed the law. I mean, let's go back. This journey started when Joe Turnipseed, Jerry Cooey, walked into their office and said, "May I see a copy of your budget?" And I was told, go see the county budget director. He'll give you a copy. And I sent two of my friends down there at different times, and they were told different things. And
I'll just interject. I was working for a local newspaper in '04, and I went in there and I asked them if I could see a copy of their budget, and I was told no, and then I was told, well, you can come look at it, but you can't make a copy.
yeah, exactly.
And I told them at the time, well, you know, that's public record. It was the secretary I was talking to at the time, who's since left. And I guess they know now that it is.
Right. Now there's one paragraph, and I want to spend a little time on this. The issue of Team Santa Rosa and the Sunshine Law was first raised in 2006. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Cooey, was the one that raised that to the state's attorney's office. At that time, they were refusing, for the most part, to give public records that I was requesting. There was several outstanding items that I had asked for. Now the law says I don't have to ask for them in writing, but I'd asked for them in writing. I had done everything that I as a citizen was supposed to do. I could not get them to budge. I went to the state attorney's office. I filed a formal complaint in 2006 over Chapter 119 in their reluctance to follow it. Now at that time, the response from the state attorney's office, and you know, the state attorney's office should know that I have a copy of it at my house. It says, well, they didn't purposely do anything wrong. Now, do you hear a reoccurring theme here, Deborah? They didn't purposely do anything wrong in '06, but in that report, it states, now Team Santa Rosa is aware of Chapter 119 and their obligations to the citizens.
Right.
And
let's read an email that we know that these were flying back and forth during the time that you were asking for this information. This is before you actually got your opinion from the state's attorney's office back then. But this is from Team Director Cindy Anderson to the County Information Management Office.
Right.
And here's what she asked them. As you are aware, we do have boo bears, as Commissioner Gordon calls them, in yet another attempt to cause hate and discontent. They asked someone in the county the other day for all our emails. That person said, we don't have them. What it made me realize is you do have them in all our confidential files on the X drive. With all we have gone through to be at arm's length from the county, we really aren't. I think our email and our data storage needs to be here in the team offices, as to not put anyone in a bad situation.
Right. So here you go, ladies and gentlemen. In 2006, I'm doing my part as a citizen, trying to get this organization to follow the law. And you know what's interesting to me, and our friend Alan Isaacson, we were laughing about it the other day. I told him where specific county commission meetings were. There was something he wanted to see, and he called me. He goes, well, Jerry, that was in 2006. You were so nice and polite. And I said, you know what, Alan? Nobody remembers when I was nice the first time. I'm always nice the first time. May I have this information? The second time, I'm going to elbow a little bit harder. You have an obligation to give me this information. Please do so. After that, I'm going to fight as hard as I can to get it. And you know, it just amazes me. And I do want to read this final sentence in that definitive decision was at that time. No definitive decision was made that Team Santa Rosa was required to operate in the Sunshine. Really?
That's the open meeting side of it.
No, Chapter 119, open records. In fact, Santa Rosa County Attorney Tom Danhauser stated in an email that Team may be subject to the Sunshine Law. So in 06 they may be.
Right.
But in 08 they have to be, according to Tom Danhauser. Interesting change of heart there. Nothing has changed, ladies and gentlemen. They're still taking your tax dollars. They're still using your building. They're still using your air conditioner, your copy machine. They're getting mileage, paid a high salary. They got dental, eye insurance, health insurance, and life insurance policies. But something changed. Now I know, and I don't believe it's my humble opinion. I believe it's a matter of fact. Team Santa Rosa, since their inception, since the contract was written some 8 years ago, since they've been taking taxpayer money, they were bound and obligated by the Sunshine Law.
Yes.
Period. End of story.
Yes, that's true.
And you know, I love this. This does not appear to be based on any attempt to intentionally avoid the law, but rather on Team Santa Rosa's belief that the Sunshine Law was not applicable.
Yes.
Well, you know, there's probably people who speed.
Yes.
There's probably people who murder people.
Right.
There are probably people who injure and beat people near death or to death, who might also believe that they didn't intentionally do it.
Right.
So do we give them a pass?
No, the law should not apply to them.
Yeah. I mean, for goodness sakes, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't intentionally. I hope you're seeing a pattern here, ladies and gentlemen. In 2006, they didn't intentionally violate anything. In 2008, they didn't intentionally violate anything. In 2009, they didn't intentionally violate anything. So we give them a pass on the criminal behavior. All we do is just say, well, we recognize. For goodness sakes, the state attorney's report says that prior to 2009, they were violating the Sunshine Law.
Yes. Now, they're saying there's insufficient evidence to prove beyond reasonable doubt that crimes actually occurred.
Really?
In other words, they don't think they have the evidence to take it to court.
Well, you know, if this email sitting right here that says we want to move our information so that we don't get caught in a bad situation, how is that not intentional? You know.
Well, because they haven't said we're not going to give it to we're not going to give people what they asked for. They just said we're moving it on to our fund. It's all in how you phrase it.
It just continues to amaze me. All right.
Now, the First Amendment Foundation is an organization based in Florida. Was started by the Florida Association of Newspaper Editors to basically promote Sunshine Law, open records.
Marvelous organization.
Yes.
Been a great deal of help to me.
Yes. Now their president, I spoke with their president last week, and she called you a hero. She said you're her hero.
Right.
He's my hero was the quote. She says she thinks that, again, and I'm very pleased with this, that the state's attorney, because our state's attorney has stated in black and white they perform a public function, they step in the shoes of government. She thinks that'll impact other such agencies throughout the state. Because she told me she was also on Governor Chris' Commission for Open Government, which concluded in January this year. And she said they took a bunch of testimony from people throughout the state. The one thing they always heard, Economic Development Agency said they're exempt from Sunshine Law. They won't give me what I've asked for.
Right.
Meetings are not open, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.